fight for Old Southwestern, for alma mater dear. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern. To Southwestern will be loyal to the sun from the sky. And remember to the end that a fight will never die. Pirates fight, yeah we win, ayy. Pirates fight, whoa, to the end, whoa. Pirates fight, yeah we win, ayy. Pirates fight, yeah, to the end, whoa, to the end.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. My name is Merle Birch, and I'm joined once again by Coach Joe Austin, Jack Farrell, our producer, Christina Weber back at the comfy, cozy Vype Live studios, better known as our living room. And somehow, Coach, I don't know how it happened, it turned into November. It's the final show of the season.
Went by quick.
It always seems to. You wait all year for it, and then the next thing you know, you're looking at the last game of the season, and away we go. So we've got a theme tonight at Coach's suggestion. We've got it's an all SAA Player of the Week winners tonight on the show. The Pirates having a very good ball game last Saturday. We'll talk about that as the show goes on. But we're going to have freshman quarterback Jalen Spriggs, senior defensive end Jason Lund. They both won the SAA Offense and Defensive Player of the Week this year, respectively. Yeah, congratulations to those good guys. And a former Player of the Week honoree, Mr. Cam Willis-Roberson, will also join us tonight. So we got three guests. We're going to go out in style with an extra bonus segment tonight. We're going to hear from all three of them tonight. Before we do, we want to thank some of our sponsors, including Antioch of Georgetown, Baylor Scott and White Healthcare, Chapel Realty Group, Chisholm Trail Pediatrics, Don Hewlett Buick and Chevrolet, Double Days Pizza, Eagles Wings Home Improvement Services, First Texas Bank, and Gary Brown CPA. Well, Coach, the Pirates needed that one. Southwestern overcoming a shaky start and notching a school record of 8 forced turnovers. That was nice to have the shoe on the other foot for a change. Spotted 10 points, but then rolled to a 42-13 win over Millsaps. Your thoughts on the Pirates getting?
We scored 35. I think the last time we scored 35 was when we beat Howard Payne 70-0 in 2017. So we've scored 35 and a quarter a couple times, but that's
right.
That's good. Like I said, it's good complementary football, forcing 4 turnovers in that half, turning them all into touchdowns. And we really, we put it on them pretty quick and flipped it, and the momentum of that game really swung. And then in the second half, we just, we kind of just wrote it out. We won the half 7-3. We forced 4 more turnovers. Didn't do as much on offense, but we really didn't have to. We just kind of coasted home, but we still won the second half, and that's what I told the guys at halftime is none of that carries over. It's 0-0 for this half. As I said, do you want to be happy now, or do you want to be happy in an hour and a half? They all said in an hour and a half. I said, okay, well, let's go win the second half. And we did, 7-3, not a very exciting half, but still a well-played half to get a good lopsided victory.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that. You had to have one of those little uh-oh moments there right off the bat, but I thought it was huge that the defense, as you said, got the stop and actually pushed them backwards, because it's one thing to set the table with the turnovers. It's another to clean your plate. And the Pirates did that. They took advantage of that and got points off the turnovers. How important was it to get that stop on defense, the defense kind of bailing out the offense until the ship got righted there?
Well, I think it was really big. I mean, it's a victory. When someone gets the ball first and goal from the 3 and you hold them to a field goal, that's a big momentum swing. Defense felt good. The offense kind of felt like, okay, we ended up all right. 3 points, we can overcome that. So I thought it was really good moment for us to not go down 7. And I think it was important in the fact that it allowed us to continue that momentum swinging back in our favor.
Well, some of the highlights haven't been so much fun to watch this year, but these will be. So let's take a look at Southwestern performance on Saturday afternoon, 42-13. Take it away, Jack.
All right, first offensive play of the game, and this is going to be an interception. A little bit of indecision by Jalen as far as underthrowing it. He got a little bit caught in between throwing it to the inside guy and the outside guy, and he hung it up there for the safety. Not the way you want to start the game, giving Millsaps the ball at home, first and goal on the 3. This is the first down stop, force him back to the 4. Second and goal, we stopped him again. This next play will be third down and goal from the 4. And we're going to stop him one more time. They go backwards, and we're going to keep them to a field goal. Interesting, you want to go for 7 there. The analytics guys would say you've got nothing to lose, go for the 7. But if you don't get anything out of that turnover, then it really can be momentum shifting. Yeah. So I think most coaches would take that field goal. We basically spotted them 3 points, but we didn't spot them 7. 3.5 minutes in, we've run one offensive play, and we're down 3-0. We punted on our second drive. This was the only big play that our first defense gave up all game. Aiden O'Connell, our corner, needed to stay on top of that receiver, and he didn't. He was able to knock him out of bounds and save the touchdown. And this drive will turn into Millsap's only touchdown of the game. They snuck a receiver, their tight end H-back guy on a little wheel route. And it's going to be 10-0, less than 5 minutes in. So not a good start on the road, but tons of game to be played, tons of time. And the turnovers are going to begin here pretty quick. We're going to watch some tackles for loss. There's a good play by Alex Gomez, good play by Blaine Corkin, our 2 inside linebackers. A lot of negative plays forced, a lot of turnovers. We had 8 sacks. There's the sack by Blaine Corkin and Alex Gomez. 8 sacks is not our school record. It's 9.5. In 2016, when he beat Trinity 48-0, we had 9.5 sacks. So 8's pretty darn good. Not quite the school record. On our third drive, we got going a little bit. This is a nice check down to Vance Mills, a freshman. Vance will have a couple highlights that we'll see. A nice 17-yard run off a check down. Unfortunately, that's as far as we got. We didn't get a 4th down conversion. We stopped our drive at about the 30. And I believe this is going to be the first of the 8 turnovers. Maybe not yet. That's another sack. Jason Lund, as you mentioned, had 4.5 sacks. Malik McDonald was in on a sack. Alec Gomez had a sack and a half. Here's the first fumble. Joe Nielsen in there at defensive tackle at the nose guard position comes up with it. Unfortunately, he's going to get us an unsportsmanlike conduct there at the end. And right now, as I speak, the boys are out running the penalty for that. They're doing a little get right. That's Colby Bartlett catching the wheel route. So we send a bunch of guys to the left. Colby Bartlett snuck out to the right. No one covered him. So we're back 10-7. It's good to have an easy touchdown, a walk-in touchdown. That's a good way to get things rolling. We're not going to show all of Charlie Fournier's extra points because he had a really good game. Perfect on extra points. I'd have to look this up, but I don't remember him ever missing an extra point. Right. I think he might be perfect for his career. He also had 2 45-yard plus punts. He did a good job on kickoffs. Our kickoff coverage in the first half, especially in the beginning of the game, was really good. So good gang tackle, starting their field position at the 15-yard line. That's a good setup for their defense. They did move the ball, as you can see. They got it down into our territory again. Jason Lund with the pressure, forces the quarterback to throw it off his back foot. It's just off the edge of the film, but that's Quincy Nevins, freshman corner, getting the interception, getting some yards on the run back. And, of course, as we said, all 4 first-half turnovers turned into touchdowns. Here's a reverse to sophomore Coleman Robertson. You can see we got some linemen out there with not a whole lot to do. So this ends up being a 50, 60-yard play. And that flips the field fast, going from the 30 all the way to our 25. And from there, it didn't take us long. This is Jalen Spriggs' second of 5 touchdowns that he had in the second quarter. He's going to throw 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. He's going to run for 3. Spoiler alert, you're going to see him score 3 more times before the end of the half.
I don't think he was touched on any of them either.
Well, I think one of them he was.
Maybe one?
Yeah, one of his touchdown runs he was touched on. The other 2, it's nice when you can, take it in with your quarterback untouched. After another good kickoff and good kickoff coverage, defense is back out again. Another sack. I think that was, there's 8 of them, it's hard to keep track. That might have been Malik McDonald. You want to get it right for the guys. You want to be able to call their name. Force fumble, sack by Jason Lund. This one bounces around, and ultimately Blaine Corkin picks it up. That's what you call good starting field position, right? So Millsap's got one on the 3. We got one on the 3, and ours was a walk-in touchdown. That's about as easy as it gets. Well blocked by the offensive line on that quarterback counter play. And we're halfway through the second quarter, and pretty quickly we've turned this into 21-10. This drive is not off of a turnover. This is a touchdown drive, I believe, in the first half that was not off of a turnover. Sneaking Sam Johnson out of the backfield, our H-back, for a nice 25-yard play. That kind of gets the drive moving. Actually, I guess we didn't score on that one. I think that was another drive where we got the fourth down and didn't complete the fourth down conversion. So they tried their reverse, and they didn't do as well. Malik McDonald with a nice tackle for loss. He stayed at home, took care of that. Really well done by Malik and being where he's supposed to be. Jake Sefcik getting some pressure. And then Jake picks it up. I think Jason Lund forced that fumble again. Another strip sack. The freshman outside linebacker, Jake Sefcik, picks this up, and as we've told you, these are turning into touchdowns. It's Devin Phillips with a nice cutback run, taking it down inside the 10. Devin actually ran the ball in for a touchdown, but we got called for a hold.
Right.
That's unfortunate. Devin's had some really good plays for us. He hasn't scored yet. And he scored on this one, and he got taken away. So Jalen, see, he did get touched.
Yes, that's
true. He did
true.
get touched. He had to do that one himself again. So that's Jalen's. Have we seen all three? We've seen all three rushing touchdowns for Jalen. 58 seconds left. So another choice for Millsaps. They can take a knee, go into the locker room. They chose to try to run the 2-minute drill and get some points. And they're going to throw it up to Peyton Ludeman, senior safety. And he's going to run this back down to about the 20-yard line again. And I think we're going to score. I think it's two touchdowns in about 25, 30 seconds of game time. So we've got the ball, a chance to really put some distance between us before the end of the half. And we're going to do just that. Jalen throws the nice screen pass back to the right to Sam Johnson. That's going to get us down inside the 8-yard line. And then the very next play, we're going to go with Sam again. Our H-back there on the left. We're going to fake the run to the left, sneak Sam across. No one picks him up. And another touchdown that's about as easy as you're going to get in a college football game. Really great complimentary football. 4 touchdowns off of 4 turnovers. That's what you really want to have. That'll be the halftime score. Beginning of the third, we run a fake punt. We ran that with Sam Johnson. He played some high school quarterback. He was thinking just get the first down. If we could replay that one, I'd tell you that if he'd pitched it out to Colby Bartlett, it would have been an even bigger play.
Right.
It was an option play, but Colby was thinking let's just get the first down. Unfortunately, on the next play, Jalen fumbled it, and that gave Millsap some pretty good field position. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to crack the door back open for him. You run your fake punt. You take more momentum from them. They're thinking they're going to get the ball back. We fumbled it back to them. But our defense is going to take it back in pretty short order. There's a sack with Jake Sefcik, and there's another guy getting in on it. Can't remember who that is, but another good tackle. I think that might have been Jason's half sack of his 4.5 sacks. That was on 4th down. So we stopped him on 4 plays, get the ball back. Another freshman running back, Leroy Rodriguez, is going to come in, and he's going to rip off 2 straight 15-yard runs. I think this is the second of the 2 runs. That's getting us back down close to the goal line again. And on this drive, Leroy's going to finish it off himself for Leroy's first collegiate touchdown. 2 good performances by freshman running backs, Devin Phillips and Leroy Rodriguez. Sam LeBleu did some good things at running back also. We saw Colby Bartlett with a touchdown reception from the running back position. So we're actually done scoring offensively, but we're not done getting turnovers and getting sacks. That's a sack by Alec Gomez, senior middle linebacker. This will be a forced fumble. Actually, probably their best run of the day. J.P. Reyes, freshman corner, forces the fumble, and sophomore safety Ethan Mills recovers that. Again, not much going on with our offense in the third quarter. Not that we were not trying to score. We just weren't as crisp. We didn't do as many things in the third and fourth quarter as we would have liked to. But we kept up the pressure. There's another sack by Jason Lund. When they would, Millsap to get a few first downs, you can see they've moved it down here again. And every time we had an answer. We come up with a play. That's J.P. Reyes with the interception. So J.P. started the season at quarterback. 4 weeks ago, he was playing scout team quarterback, and this week he's going to be starting at corner.
Wow.
He's doing a good job, but we've got 4 corners that are hurt.
Yeah.
But we're glad he's there. We're glad he's been practicing it. He forced a fumble and got an interception on 2 straight drives. Millsap's got the ball moving a little bit again, but we're going to come up with another way to keep them out of the end zone. They did pick up a field goal here. This is at the very end of the fourth quarter with less than 2 minutes. They picked up a field goal. Did get the ball back one more time with 1:59. They made it 42-13, which will ultimately to be the final margin. They got one more possession. They moved it down, and the 8th turnover is going to come from freshman safety Felipe Olvera, who did a great job of finding their tight end, who was dragging back across to our left. And he saw him and wheeled back out. The quarterback didn't know he was going to do that, and that became our 8th turnover. Damian Gomez in at quarterback for most of the second half. After that 6th touchdown, he takes the knee, and that will be the final margin of 42-13. After giving up 10 points in the first 5 minutes, that's a pretty good way to come back. A really nice second quarter. Well done by the guys.
As we've seen throughout the year, the Pirates have been on the wrong side of that turnover battle so many times. How much fun was it to be on the other side of the coin and get the short fields and be able to take advantage of it like that?
Well, at the time, I wouldn't call it fun. I'm sure it was fun to watch. A lot of people told me it's fun to watch, but it was good. It was good execution. You don't really get to have the fun until you do stuff like this, right? Go back and look at it. At the time, you're just thinking, okay, let's capitalize, let's keep this moving, let's do the right things. And the players, to their credit, they did it. As I said before, really nice complimentary football to force the 4 first-half turnovers, turn them all into touchdowns was really good.
One of the things I noticed watching the game, and you kind of touched on it, was use it as an example. The reverse play the Pirates ran, big play. They run a reverse play, and Jalen Levine is right there to stuff it. And that kind of thing happened all day long. All the misdirection stuff, the Pirates were able to capitalize on it. But the Pirate defense stayed at home. I keep saying this team is not that far away from being a pretty good football team, and I think you saw the difference right there. How did you see that? Well,
we've talked about it here and in team meetings. We're not the team we wanted to be. I mean, we're missing a lot of guys.
Right.
It's coulda, woulda, shouldas don't really count. But I think you're right. I think especially if we had more of our personnel. I think what you can say, though, defensively is we got a few players back this game that we've been missing. Blaine Corkin hadn't played in about a month.
Right.
Jake Sefcik hadn't played in a couple weeks. So to get 2 starting linebackers back was really good. Of course, we lost some more guys. It was still an expensive game from an injury standpoint. But to get those guys back, they both came through on the highlights. You saw sacks and you saw fumble recoveries from both of those guys. We did have a little bit more of the personnel in our linebacking core that we wanted, and that made a big difference. Our most veteran group is still our defensive line. And as you said, they did a good job. We talked about Malik stopping that reverse. Jason had the 4.5 sacks. Joe Nielsen recovered a fumble. So a really good job by our defensive line and the seniors on our defensive line.
And then the last thing to talk about, the youth movement on the offense. We talked about it throughout the year, but all the freshman running backs, the freshman quarterback, really getting the job done, spreading the ball around. If you look at the box score, it's about that long with all the guys that touch the football. Talk about that a little bit, keeping all those guys happy and having them all produce.
Well, they're talented players, and they get better every week. They learn, they get more comfortable. And so, we've had a lot of really good contributions from underclassmen. I don't think a senior touched the ball for us. So it's a very young group that's out there playing at running back, at receiver, at quarterback. As far as runs and catches, now Damian Gomez played as a quarterback.
Right.
He touched the ball, obviously processing it, right? So he had carries.
Yeah.
But I'm saying as far as ball distribution, who he handed it to and who he threw it to, there were a lot of young players that did some really good things and will continue to do some good things as they just get better and get older.
Well, 42-13 the final score. Any final thoughts on this one before we get ready for Sewanee next week to close out the season?
Good day for the guys. They were a happy band of Pirates on the way home as they should have been. It was a good team meeting today, going over all the conference awards, and a lot of guys graded out really well. We met a lot of our objectives, so it was a good meeting. And just as you said, it's time to switch over to Sewanee. So they watched that film, and then they're going to be switching as we talk. They're still meeting and going over stuff and thinking about Sewanee. So it's time for us to do that as well. After the interviews, we'll get ready for the next team.
Yeah. How much do they run right now? How much are you putting them to work after that penalty?
Well, then we have to do. Well, we'll leave that one internal. That one's in the.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll take a break. And as we mentioned, we've got 3 different guests coming up. We're going to get things started with the freshman quarterback Jalen Spriggs, who you saw rushing into the end zone several times and tossing it as well. We'll take a break. Be back for quarter number 2. You're watching SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. And welcome back to quarter number 2 of SU Football Weekly here. Welcome back to Jack's Lounge at the Georgetown Sheraton. I want to thank some more of our sponsors, John F. Lewis CPA, Mighty Fine Burgers, Fries, and Shakes, Minuteman Press, Primerica Financial Solutions, Rudy's Barbecue, and Schlotsky's of Georgetown. And we're joined now by one of the young men you just saw on the screen, freshman quarterback. I'm trying to make you grow up too fast. Freshman quarterback Jalen Spriggs. Jalen, introduce yourself, where you went to school, all that kind of stuff.
My name is Jalen Spriggs. I went to school, All Saints Episcopal, class of 2027. I played quarterback here at Southwestern Football.
And before we get into the interview itself, we want to throw the graphic up because you were just named the SAA Offensive Player of the Week. Congratulations. There it is right there.
Thank you.
So very cool on that. We'll talk about the game as we go here, but I'm not 100% certain, but I called an All Saints Episcopal semifinal game against Nolan Catholic from Globe Life Park in 2020. That would have been your sophomore year. Did you play in that game?
No, sir. I only went to All Saints my senior year.
Just the senior year?
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
All right. So what drove that decision to go from one school to the other at the high school level?
Just coming out of my junior year, it was a really shaky situation, and I didn't want to be left in the mess. So I just got out of it, better for myself.
Well, good for you. I want to give you a chance to weigh in on the debate. If you've been watching the show all year long, on the debate we've been talking about, Dallas versus Houston versus Austin football at the high school level, private schools versus public schools. So I want to give you your thought to weigh in on that, your perspective on it.
I think public school is definitely more competitive, but way more competitive. But, they still got some guys at the private school level. It was still good to compete. We did what we did my senior year, and it was a good season.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you because you had sort of experiences of both, so kind of an interesting perspective there. Now, I'm not sure if you know about this, but it's pretty rare that Coach Austin has a freshman come on the show. It usually makes you guys kind of earn your stripes a little bit, but I guess the SAA award and all that kind of stuff. So what's it been like for you playing your way into a starting role here this season? You started off batting it out with Damian Gomez, and as the season wore on, you've kind of moved into the starter. Talk about that process a little bit.
It was a really competitive. Dame is really good, but we as a team, the team helped me become the player I am today. I'm more comfortable in the system. I'm glad that the coaches and the players trust me to make plays and do what I do.
Well, you mentioned Damian Gomez, the senior. He's been there before. He's battled before. What's been like? What have you learned from him? What has he kind of passed on to you that you're kind of following away that you're going to pass on to the freshman coming up 3 years from now?
Dame he's a good teacher. He's always there in the corner to help me. When I make mistakes, he's there. He's in my head. It's all good. And even when I come to the sideline, he helps me, what are we in? What are they doing?
Right.
And it's real good to have somebody that's been, and that's done it, and that's there in your ear on the sideline.
We'll talk about your experience overall at Southwestern. What was it that attracted you to school in the first place, and what's your experience been like being down here?
No, it's great. Georgetown is great. I love being here. I can see myself here the next 4 years for sure.
Kind of a two-part question. Talk about the balance of academics pretty high, I would imagine, at All Saints Episcopal. Mm-hmm. Talk about the balance of adjusting to college athletes and then college football. How much quicker is the game from what you experienced playing at the high school level just a year ago?
It's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And they're a lot bigger. But school-wise, All Saints really helped me with that.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot of college stuff. So coming here, it's a little change, but I'm kind of used to it now.
You mentioned bigger. What else is different about the college game versus the high school game? How is it? Is the playbook here more complex? Is the competition just differ across the board? Talk about that a little bit.
The competition is different. The playbook is different. It's all different. But I came in and I adjusted fast.
Yeah. Well, speaking of adjusting fast, you got off to a rough start, as we saw on Saturday afternoon, but you bounced right back. A really nice day, obviously, if you're named SAA Offensive Player of the Week. Sure. Talk about that growing process this year. Are you gaining confidence with each game that you play now that you've seen more and experienced more and kind of adjusted to that speed a little bit?
Yes, sir. I'm glad that the players, even when anybody make mistakes, we all come to the sideline and they, we're good. Everybody say we're good. We go out and we do it again.
Yeah, and Coach and I were just talking about all the young guys around you at the running back position, wide receiver position. How much are you looking forward to growing up with those guys over the next couple of years?
It's going to be great. It's going to be hard to stop.
Are you guys kind of your own little band? Is it
Sure.
kind of coming in at the same level?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you scored 3 rushing touchdowns, and you barely got touched on one. You got touched, but you barely got touched. What's your dream play? Your dream play. If you could design a play and execute it, what would that be?
I say 99-yard touchdown pass.
99. Why not 99? Not 100, huh? You don't want to go the distance?
99.
Well, that's pretty cool. What are some of the things that you like to do away from the field when you're not studying and not practicing football?
Hang with the guys. Guys that's on the team. They're the ones that this is why I'm here. They keep my head steady, laugh. It's all great.
Yeah. Is there something about you that I mean, it's your first year yet, so not everybody knows everything about you just yet. Is there something that nobody knows about you yet that you want to divulge here?
I played the violin in middle school.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
That is very awesome. Do you still play?
No.
No? What did you like about doing that?
Really, I was just forced into it. I was forced into it, and I just ended up liking it.
Well, at least it turned into a positive experience. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What's your favorite memory so far, on or off the field? Or both, if you got one of each.
I'll say the bus rides for sure.
Yeah.
The bus ride is always a good memory to be. Long rides with the team. I mean, most of it is just sleep, but when we're up talking, it's a good time.
But just a freshman, obviously, so you still have some time to figure it out. But have you given any thought to what you're going to do after you graduate?
If I don't go play, I will go back and help the younger kids, help the young, go back and coach.
Yeah.
And help them not make the same mistakes I did and be a better young man.
Well, what are you looking forward to the most? Not only to close out the season on Saturday, but you would probably be the front runner for the job next year. You never know, because it's going to be a competition. It always is. But what are you looking forward to the most after the Saturday's game, moving on into next year?
Preparing for next year.
Yeah.
Yes,
Start never a dull moment, right? Never stops. Very cool. Well, any shout outs you want to give, or anybody you want to thank, or anything like that?
Shout out to the SU Pirate football O-line.
All right.
Yes.
That sounds good. Well, it's been fun watching you play this year. We get to watch you one more time on Saturday afternoon. Best of luck Saturday, and look forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you.
All right. Freshman quarterback Jalen Spriggs, our first guest here. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Crazy's Corner. He's going to sit down with a crusty old veteran from the other side of the ball. That would be Jason Lund coming up right after this break. You're watching SU Football Weekly here on Vype.
Welcome back to SU Football Weekly for Crazy's Corner. Joining me is senior defensive end, defensive end, Jason Lund. Jason has been on this SU Football Weekly 4 times in his career. That's pretty impressive. In fact, it's gotten to where maybe we need a Jason Lund segment. Maybe Jack's Lounge might allow you to appropriate a portion of the name. We could have Lund's Lounge, and you could come in and interview some of your former teammates in the future, because obviously you're a senior. You'll likely be moving on to bigger and better things. Well, I don't know about how much better it'll be, but let me just tell you, getting out in the adult world is a little tough. But I did a little bit of research. I interviewed you last year. We already know that you're from the Fort Worth area, Azle, Texas, a little bitty town just west of Fort Worth, right? A little southwest of Fort Worth. You were a 3-year letterman in football, and you were a 4-year letterman in wrestling.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit about wrestling. What weight class did you wrestle in high school? And you were a state qualifier in wrestling as well. So.
Yep. So I started wrestling in my freshman year at 170, and from every year sort of bumped up to keep playing football and gaining size. So I started out at 170, then went to 195, and then 220 my junior and senior year.
Now, wrestling is a sport that's been really popular in the U.S., mostly in the Midwest and a little bit in the Northeast.
Right.
It's really gained popularity here in the Southwest. Now, Oklahoma, Kansas, those states have always kind of been wrestling states, but Texas not so much. No. But I've found, and I tell linemen this all the time, that it is very good sport to compete in off season for a number of reasons. Did it benefit you in football to be a wrestler?
For sure. It helps a lot with your hips. It makes you get better balance. And a big thing for me, being a defensive lineman, it allows me to help out with my leverage, because that's a big part of my game, and being able to get past the dudes who are a lot bigger than me. So it helps, because football is all leverage. So it's all about how I use my weight and how I use my size compared to theirs.
Well, and you can tell when you're in a match with an individual whether or not they're off balance, and then that equates onto the football field as well, and that's what you're talking about with leverage. So given all this high school recognition, you were also top 10 student, National Honor Society vice president, all of those things. Are you Azle famous? Like when you come back to town, they're like, oh, Jason's back in town.
You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I love Azle. That's where I went to high school. I get recognized at the local Walmart every now and then. I'll see one of my classmates or principal or teachers. It's a real small town. Everyone's such a close, tight-knit group, and I'm nothing but thankful for the time I had in Azle. So.
Well, and it also kind of puts you in a position where you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, because people will recognize you, right? You can't go back to Azle and act a fool, because some of those young kids who looked up to you during your high school years might be disappointed. So, make sure you keep your ducks in a row. Well, hey, those Azle kids might be future Pirates. So we want to make sure that they're towing the line and doing what's right. What is your favorite part of Azle?
My favorite part of Azle, there's not a whole bunch in Azle. Probably the Whataburger. That is the main staple. That's where you go downtown to eat a good meal with your family, the Whataburger, and always after Friday night football games.
Does it stay open 24 hours?
Oh, yeah. It stays
that's
all
another
night.
reason why, growing up in Waco at the time, Waco wasn't a huge town. It's a lot bigger now. Right. But that was the main go-to after midnight, because it's the only place that was open, was Whataburger. So what did you do for your first job in Azle?
I actually never had a job in Azle per se. I was really busy with school and sports, and my parents said, as long as I do good in school and sports, I have to get a job.
Well, and that was always the way that I treated my kids is, your job is to make grades, basically.
Right.
So, of course, they still want money and eventually went and got jobs anyway. But so what did you do for fun growing up? I think I remember what your answer was previously.
Oh, really? So I actually grew up in Georgia. That's where I'm born and raised. I moved over to Texas, Azle area, about 8th grade. I really spent a lot of time outside, just having fun, like riding my four-wheelers around, playing with my brother and my sister, just outdoor kid, like really country, enjoyed the outside.
So do you prefer hunting or fishing?
I actually really like fishing.
Yeah,
My dad's
I'm
on
a
a
fisher
whole
too.
fishing trip right now, like big into it.
Saltwater or freshwater?
Freshwater.
I
I
like
actually
the
get
freshwater
seasick.
a little
Yeah,
more? You
yeah.
get seasick,
Yeah,
okay.
no fun.
So what's something that most people wouldn't know about you?
I like to say I'm a pretty good chef. I can cook a little bit.
Is that right? What
Right.
is your specialty?
I really like grilling. Anything I can grill up. Really, I can throw it down on the grill. Give me
So
some charcoal.
do you like to smoke meats, or are you talking like short-term steaks and burgers? Or are you talking about smoking briskets
I mean,
and pork
I feel
butts,
like
or what are we
cooking's
talking?
one of those things. It's just like clean them, do it the rest of my life. So I got time to figure out the smoke game.
Yeah,
But
it's
I definitely grill.
It's a very difficult. I mean, you mess up just a little bit smoking something, and you're mad at yourself. So, yeah, it's something that get ready to be angry about a couple of wasted briskets or a pork shoulder or something. All right, let me ask you some speed questions. Then I'll let you ask me some questions. How about that?
All right.
So, what's your favorite music genre?
Rap and country.
That's two genres. Which one is in front of the other one?
Country. I
Country.
guess.
I mean, there is a little bit of
Grew up
rap
from Gwinnett
country
County,
crossover.
Georgia.
There you
It's
go.
tough.
Right.
Right next
so
to
who's your
Atlanta.
favorite artist?
Probably at the moment, Zach Bryan.
You prefer books or movies?
Movies.
Cowboys, Texans, or
Neither.
or-
Baltimore
that's what the or is,
Ravens.
so you're
Yeah.
a Ravens
Big
fan.
Ravens
Okay.
fan.
Rangers, Astros, or
I like the Braves,
You're
but shout out to the
Braves?
Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Holding it down.
Rockets, Mavs, Spurs, or
I actually love LeBron. I'm a LeBron James fan, so wherever he's
wherever
at,
he's
yeah,
playing,
I'm a fan. So
that's
right
you.
now it's the Lakers.
okay. I call him LaFleur, but
Oh man, that's the goal
no,
right
he's
there.
definitely awesome. And
Yeah.
if I were 38 years old and still tearing it up, I mean, well, hey.
There we go.
39.
Some LeBron fans in the house.
So, do you like going out or hanging out?
I really like both. Anytime I can be out with my friends, I think that's great. But also sitting in, just taking it easy is a lot of fun as well.
Video games. What type do you like? Sports or first-person shooter?
I really like sports video games. Big FIFA guy. I like to say I'm the best FIFA player at Southwestern, at least on the football team. But and then
You got no
Fortnite, getting back
argument
into
from
Oh yeah,
anybody.
no, not here. But when I get back, probably. And then Fortnite's making a resurgence. Fortnite's pretty.
Is that right?
Right.
So, what platform do you play on?
Xbox?
Okay. Famous person you have an hour to spend lunch with. They can be alive or dead. Who would it be?
Probably Ray Lewis. That's who I looked up to growing up. That's why I love the Baltimore Ravens. Just wanted. I played
Guy was a
linebacker
monster.
growing up. Yeah, just get to talk to him, his mentality, and how he attacks the games, and how he is so close with his faith as well. I think it's very.
So it would be mainly football and a little faith questions.
Oh
that you
yeah, for
throw
sure.
at the
And
Ray
just
Lewis.
just fanboying out. That's Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I know,
think
he's
the
pretty
greatest
awesome.
linebacker ever.
So do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
I just want to shout out my whole defensive line, Coach Carr, Malik McDonald, Jay-Z, Keenan, Big Joe, just everybody, all my guys and my young guys too.
Now, all of those guys that are in your class, you mentioned Malik and a couple of the other guys. How are you guys going to stay in contact with one another?
I mean, that's the question, man. It's really all about how deep these bonds go beyond ball, and obviously we have a great bit of admiration for each other and respect, but it's we got to figure things out afterwards. It's not football forever, so.
Well,
we
it's
gotta
not.
figure it
And
out.
one thing you'll find out in adult life is networking is very important, and these relationships that you're building with your coaches, your professors, your teammates, your classmates, they're going to go a long way to contributing to success in your life. Now, do you want to practice Lund's Lounge and ask me some questions?
I don't
You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't have any questions on the spot.
Okay,
drawn
well,
up.
we've got another guest coming up, and that's, I think, Cam Robinson. Is it Robertson or Robbins?
Roberson.
So I knew I was going to mess it up. Robertson. So we'll be right back for, I guess this is going to be the third quarter? fourth quarter, and then we'll have overtime. So we'll be right back on SU Football Weekly. Stay tuned.
And welcome back to the fourth quarter of SU Football Weekly here on Vype. Merle Bertrand here, joined by our next guest in just a second. Before we get to him, I want to thank the rest of our sponsors, Bricks and Ale at the Sheraton, Stephanie Featherstone with State Farm, Georgetown Shirt Company, HEB, House of Gains, Ross and Champion CPA, GTX Wealth, Jersey Mike Subs, and the League Kitchen and Tavern. And before we get to our next guest, I do want to recognize, we didn't get a chance to throw it up there on the last segment, Jason Lund named the Defensive Player of the Week in the SAA. So there you go right there. He's a grizzled old veteran. He's bigger than I am, so I wanted to make sure we gave him plenty of love. So congratulations, Jason. That's pretty awesome. I didn't realize that he'd been on the show 4 times, and I guarantee that our next guest has not, because we go from a 4-time veteran to another youngster, our welcome freshman defensive back, Cam Willis-Roberson. And for those of you who have not been with us all season long, he was named SAA Defensive Player of the Week. I guess that was, September 23rd. I think it was the Birmingham Southern game. So
yes, sir.
Congratulations on that. And the reason for that was 3 interceptions.
Yes, sir.
Had you ever? Yeah. There it is right there. That's what came out at the time. So have you ever done that before? 3 interceptions in a game, 3 interceptions in practice, anything like that?
No, sir. I mean, I surprised myself, but here we are.
Well, it came at a good time. That was pretty awesome. That had to be a lot of fun. I mean, what was the highlight when you got home last night? You probably couldn't sleep for about 2 days.
Oh, man, my family was blowing my phone up. Oh, my gosh, you're going crazy right now. And I was like, hey, it's a new thing now, I guess.
Yeah. And then you got to forget about it, go back to work on the next day, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I want to give you a chance to, we talked about the game of the week, athlete of the week, defensive player of the week last month, but haven't really properly introduced you. So take a moment to do that. Where did you go to high school, and just kind of say hello to everybody out there.
How you guys doing? I'm Cam Willis-Roberson. I went to Clear Falls High School in Lake City, Texas, but originally from Galveston, Texas. I play football and baseball also. And that's pretty much about it.
Well, we've had the debate all season long. You're going to be the final player guest of the year, so you're going to get the final word on this. Mm-hmm. So think carefully about your answer here. Which region in the state of Texas plays the best football? Austin, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Austin.
It's a no-brainer. It's Houston.
Houston,
all the way.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? I mean, I obviously, I'm biased because I'm from Austin, but I think you're probably right.
Yes, sir.
This is recorded, so I'm in trouble now. But why do you think that is?
I mean, it's more powerhouses in Houston, in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of dogs out there, But in my opinion, it's a lot of more dogs in the Houston area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty tough football, that's for sure. So coming from that sort of an environment to Southwestern, talk about that process a little bit. How did you get recruited? What attracted you to Southwestern? And then, what's the transition been like going from high school to playing quite a bit here as a freshman?
So my decision, it was more which one's closer to home. Southwestern, Georgetown was like an easy pick. I mean, I love the area. Georgetown's a great place. It's not too far from home, and when I came to visit, I just loved the campus.
Now, some of the guys that we've talked to, they're primarily have been juniors and seniors and that kind of thing, so they've kind of adapted to it now. But you're still in your first year of school. You've only been a college student now for, 3 months?
Yes, sir.
How hard was it to learn to discipline yourself? Not talking about football. That's a total different. But getting to class in time, getting the laundry done in time, making sure that you're eating right, all that kind of stuff. Not staying up to 4 o'clock in the morning playing Xbox. Talk about that process a little bit, just trying to train yourself.
The transition wasn't too hard. It was just more about my study habits. I mean, the taking care of myself, that part was already already done. It was a no-brainer. But just studying habits is most definitely a big part.
Well, you've been playing part of the secondary. That unit kind of has some growing pains as the year wore on, but I think when we saw some of the film on Saturday, kind of coming around a little bit better. Talk about that process of the guys kind of growing together a little bit. You've had a lot of injuries back there and having to replace a whole lot of bodies, but talk about that sort of growing together and growing up as a unit together.
So we started off, we were kind of iffy, but we started putting the pieces together, finding what works for our skill set, and as the year went on, we started putting together, and there we are.
Well, I asked Jalen this, obviously the freshman quarterback for the Pirates. You're a freshman as well, surrounded by a lot of young guys. How much are you looking forward to kind of growing up and, kind of coming of age, I guess, if you will, with your freshman teammates and that kind of thing?
I see it as an advantage. We all started playing freshman year, our first year, and, we're playing together. We know each other's weaknesses, our strengths, and yes, sir.
It's kind of interesting. You don't see this a lot at the high school level where you've got a freshman playing varsity, for instance. But for Southwestern, and I'm sure some of the other schools, because I've seen it on their rosters as well, there's a guy like Jason Lund who's been here for 4 years, Peyton Ludeman, all those guys in the defense. And then there are the freshmen that are coming in by yourself. It's got to be a little bit weird at the start, but by the end of the year, your teammates, then that age difference kind of dissipates a little bit. Is that kind of the case, or is it, talk about that whole process of coming together as a team, even though you're playing with a guy that's been playing for 3-4 years already?
Definitely. For like the first couple of weeks, it was kind of iffy. The older guys were trying to big dog us a little bit because we were freshmen coming in. But as the year went on, they saw that we can actually play, and we're good, and it kind of gave us our respect, and we just took off from there.
Well, Jalen mentioned that his dream play was a 99-yard touchdown pass. Presumably, the guy that he threw it to is not guarded by you. So, as a defensive player, what would be your dream play?
A 99-yard pick six.
Ah, there you
go.
Yes, sir. What's with the 99 yards? How come you're not in the end zone bringing it 102 yards?
I mean,
don't want to get greedy? 99 is just too much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't have that much gas in the tank.
So what are some of the things that you like to do away from the field as you're kind of getting your sea legs here at Southwestern?
I spend most of my time in the library, believe it or not. Also, I spend a lot of time with the guys, just building that connection like you mentioned earlier.
Right.
And, yeah.
Well, what is there something about you that nobody knows? And we find out that Jalen played the violin in 8th grade, which I think is awesome. But, is there something about that nobody knows about you?
I'd say growing up, I was a multi-sport athlete.
Yeah?
I played football, baseball, basketball. I actually did a little soccer a little bit, and I also did track.
Well, what was your favorite and why?
I loved basketball, but I had to drop it because I wasn't too good. But I fell in love with baseball also. Baseball was one of the first sports I played, and I just stayed with football and baseball.
I think it's interesting. Coaches at the high school level especially have a different philosophy about that. Some of them, you're a football player, that's all you want to do, and then some of them are like, play everything. You're only going to be a kid once, but also there are things that you learn and pick up from those coaches, skills that you develop, and it keeps you in shape. Was that kind of your experience? Is that kind of what drove you?
Yes, sir. I felt that if the more I played, the more I did, then the better off player I'd be.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that. So what are some of the things, I asked you this, what are some of the things you like to do away from the field? What's your favorite memory so far here? It could be high school too, but favorite memory on or off the field?
Most definitely my first game playing with the 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that was probably the easiest question I've asked all year.
Yes, sir.
I probably should have explained that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think here if there's anything else I wanted to go over with you. Well, obviously the obvious question I asked Jalen as well. Just a freshman coming in, so you still have plenty of time. Have you given any thought to what you're going to do after you get out of college?
Right now I'm working. I want to do physical therapy when I get out of
very
college.
cool.
Yes, sir.
That's a very good field. That's something that helps a lot of people. I can attest to that personally. It was something my wife and I are going through. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Any shout outs you want to give or anything like that before we let you go here?
Yes, sir. I'd say shout out to the guys at Southwestern. Thanks for getting me here. Shout out to my family. That's about it.
Well, very cool. Well, it's been fun watching you come on the scene this year, and congratulations on the Defensive Player of the Week a couple of months ago, about a month or so ago. 3 interceptions in a game. Haven't seen that in a while. Probably won't see it again. So get a couple more this Saturday, will you?
Yes, sir. Hopefully. It's the plan.
All right. Cam Willis-Robertson, our guest here on the fourth quarter. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Coach Austin will join us for overtime, and we'll close out the season here, SU Football Weekly on the Vype Live Network. Welcome back to Overtime, the Overtime segment here, SU Football Weekly, our final segment of the year. Hard to believe it's kind of winding down to the season. Merle Bertrand being joined once again by Coach Joe Austin. And before we talk about the final game of the season, Coach, I wanted to get your thoughts on Jalen Spriggs, Jason Lund, and Cam Willis-Robertson, freshman, senior, offensive defense, sort of the yin and yang of the Pirates. Talk about those guys a little bit.
The young guys did okay on the interviews, right?
Yeah.
Did it okay? Yeah. They did fine. We waited a little bit. Cam was like the month into the season. Wanted to let him season a little bit longer until we brought him on. And when Jalen got the Player of the Week, we'll go ahead and bring those guys on, give a couple young guys a chance. And, of course, you said Jason's been on 4 times, always fun, great personality. So they're good young men, good guys, good teammates, and, they did a good job with their interviews.
Yeah, they did an awesome job, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to them over the years ahead. So the Pirates will close out the year at home on Senior Day against Sewanee. The Tigers currently 3-6 overall, also 2-5 in the SAA. And like Southwestern, kind of a storied football history a little bit for those guys. What can you tell us about the Sewanee Tigers?
They're okay. They're a pretty decent football team. Won 3 games. They're fairly young, but they've got more. They've got a little bit more talent maybe than Millsap's, not knocking them, but what I told our players are they have more – what I'm saying is they have more all-conference potential players. They have the player that leads the conference in sacks with 11.5. That's a good number. They've got the linebacker. At linebacker, the player leads the conference in tackles. So they've got some good players. They've got 2 good quarterbacks. Different styles, which can be a challenge. One is basically not that he isn't a capable passer, but he's second in the conference in rushing. So it's like another running back from a number standpoint. And then their other quarterback that they play is a pretty good passer. They don't run him quite as much, so they've got a little bit of a double-edged sword there for teams to have to prepare for two completely different styles. So a good football team. They're good on special teams. Also have a very good kicker, punter. And what I told our team this afternoon is it's going to be a step up from last week. They're not at the top of the conference, but they've got some capable players,
right,
some marquee all-conference type players. We need to have another really good week of preparation and another good game.
How tough is it to game plan for that kind of scenario where they're platooning quarterbacks with two different styles? How tough is that to game plan for that?
Well, you can put your X's and O's together. It's just you have half the time to practice, right? Because they are two very distinct styles when they play the two different quarterbacks. So you're dividing your practice time. You don't get, from a coach standpoint, you never get enough time to practice anyway, right? It feels like. But you only get half the time to practice for number 9, half time to practice for number 8, and hopefully what you do, you'll be good at. But it's not like we're drawing up, just all completely new things.
Right.
There'll be pieces in the game plan that our players are familiar with, some new things obviously, but that's the challenge is you only have half the time to kind of dedicate to each quarterback and that quarterback style and the plays that they run in each of the packages that they have for the two very different players.
Well, they've been roughed up the past 2 weeks by Barry and Trinity. We've been there. The Pirates, meanwhile, coming off a road win. So how much did Saturday's game restore a little momentum, a little confidence? You mentioned it was a happy bus ride home, obviously. Talk about those different dynamics. They've been kind of knocked around a little bit. The Pirates have been on the upswing after the nice road win.
Well, we certainly do hope we can carry some of that momentum from the nice game that we had last weekend. And the Sewanee's last 4 games, they played the top 4 teams in the conference.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 in descending order. So they played 4th place, 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place. I guess what they would say is they've seen the best, right? They've seen the 2 best teams in our conference the last 2 weeks. So they're probably going to say nothing we're going to do is going to surprise them from a speed or talent standpoint. So that's what they're saying over in Tennessee, and what we're saying is, we've got some good momentum. We did a nice job with our bye week of preparing with 2 weeks for Millsap, so we executed well. We just need to keep our momentum going. So I think each team will pull from their situations what they can from a motivational standpoint, and they'll we'll see which philosophy wins out and which team's better able to apply what they're trying to get their players to focus on.
Well, wanted to give you a chance to talk about your seniors a little bit. I mean, Saturday's senior day, honoring the Pirates. I remember when Southwestern had 1 senior. Now I got quite a few. But talk about your seniors. Those guys have been through a lot with COVID and everything else and all the shifting around. And I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about your seniors some.
Yes, I mean, what you said I think is the headline for this group. They came in during COVID. Their first year was that spring season where they didn't get to really train or do much of anything.
Yeah.
They didn't get normal training camp. We practiced for a few weeks and then started playing a few games. Just a goofy thing. So they've kind of gotten the short end a little bit, but they've been diligent with it, right? And they've seen it through. What I think is great for this group of seniors is they got to see us through that COVID phase. Basically, I talk about and I think of our program as having 3 phases. Mm-hmm. In our first phase, we started the program, built a conference champion, backed it up with 2 nationally ranked teams. Then COVID threw the brakes on all of that.
Right.
We didn't go in our weight room for 18 months. I mean, it was a rough deal. That's when these guys came in, and they were part of that survive and restart phase. But this year they got to lead us into phase 3, which is moving into the SAA. They don't get to play in the new stadium, but they get to know that it's coming. They get to be with the new conference. So I'm glad that they get to have, I guess, that crescendo of this season and moving in and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and getting us into that. So I'll forever be appreciative to these 17 guys for getting us through that phase into this phase. I hope they'll see the successes that are coming. We talked about all of our good young players, right? I mean, things are really building. With the new conference, that's great momentum for us. With the stadium plans, that's great momentum for us. And these guys are a part of getting into that phase. And I hope that they have some pride in that. I certainly think they've done a great job getting us through that second phase into the third phase. And I can't wait to see them come back and to see the new stadium and to see some of the things that the guys that are in Jalen and Cam's group are going to do. because they have a lot to do with building that momentum for us.
Well, it's our last show of the year, obviously, so I wanted to get your thoughts on this inaugural season in the SAA. You just touched on it a moment ago. When we started the season, it was a hypothetical yet. Now it's just about to become a reality. Your thoughts on the first year in this conference?
I think it's a good fit for us. I think it's a good move by the school decision makers, from the board of trustees on down. Nobody asks me, right? I just coach the team. But it's a good move for us to get into a conference of similar schools,
right.
of high academic schools, more of an apples to apples thing. Now we have some catch up to do. As you travel around, there's some great facilities. There's some schools that do a really good job with their football programs on a national level. There are some elite football teams in this conference, but it's good for those same people to see that, right? As they're planning, what do you want us to be as a football program? The people that have the money to spend and the investments to make in Southwestern, to see that, it's not just Hardin-Simmons and Mary Hardin-Baylor and a not as great academic conference. It's these academic conferences we're in now. There's great facilities. There's really good football players. There'll be as many All-Americans this year out of this conference as there are out of the ASC, but it's overall a good fit. And I think it's a great experience for our players. They always talk about, they love the travel. They love to get to fly. It's a really good thing for them to get to see the different parts of the country that maybe they don't see. Not that they were there for forever, but they can all say they've been to Jackson, Mississippi.
Right.
They can all say they've been to Louisville, Kentucky. They can all say they've been to Los Angeles. And so it's a really nice thing for them to get to do. And the Los Angeles trip, of course, is a non-conference trip. But next year, there's 3 more flights. They're going to get to go to Atlanta. They're going to get to do some other things.
Right.
They can say that they were almost late for their game because the interstate was shut down and then the county road was shut down. I mean, they're going to remember that stuff.
Right.
I'm sitting up front like, okay, how are we going to have a pregame? How are we going to get taped in time? And they're but they have that'll be a memory I'll have as well. They'll remember all those things and look back and laugh about the time we had 25 minutes to get ready for a college football game because we played in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky and you couldn't get there literally. It's a good move for the school, good competition, and I'm looking forward to seeing how our school will continue to support us. We need to get the stadium built. We need to expand our weight room. We need to do some of the things that the other academic schools have done for their football players. So I think it's overall a great move for us. There's a lot of things on the horizon for our football program, and looking forward to guiding these young men through it. I think our third phase of football here in the SAA is overall going to be a good one.
Well, last question for you of the year. Obviously, one more game than the off season. So what's the general timeline now over the period when the final gun goes off Saturday afternoon until you start up again in July?
Just for the program?
Yes,
for the players?
For you and the program. And
what
happens next?
For the players, they'll have some, we call it active recovery. They're basically, we're not going to have any organized workouts or training.
Right.
We don't want them sitting around doing nothing. So they'll get to do some active recovery from now through finals. And then over the break, they're going to have an organized training program that's portable. They can take it to where they're going to be over that 4 or 5 week period where they're gone. It's 5 weeks typically. So they'll have that 5 week program that will get them ready for what we're going to do when they get back here. And then it's going to be an intensive program when they get back in January with our strength and conditioning program. That'll run all the way through May. Our spring football is after our spring break, so mid-March through April will be our spring football period. We're trying to put together our next European trip. We got to get a few more players to commit to that, but we're hopefully going to go play in Rome in May.
Right.
So we'll do a little bit of that at the end of the spring. And then our summer program for the players is also portable because at Southwestern, players are all over. They're doing internships. They're working. They're doing a lot. So some of them will be in Georgetown and working out on our campus, but they can take it and be with them. So college football, as folks know, it's a year-round deal.
Yeah.
But the difference between us and Division I is they're still putting in the same hours, but it's a little more portable for us. You're not locked into being on your campus basically 11 and a half months a year. Maybe get a week at Christmas and a week at Thanksgiving. And you get a couple weeks in the summer. So they don't have to be here 11 months or here about 9 months. For coaching, it's recruiting, which never ends. Mm-hmm. But that's the next phase for us, is getting all the players that we're recruiting to come to campus, and we'll be going out to see some of them, and that will be the bulk of what we're doing until we get close to spring ball. That'll be the big time commitment for the coaches.
Well, that's all I got for the season. Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to say before we get ready to close out the season on Saturday?
No, good year by Vype. I mean, hopefully I was not saying that too early. Finish up with a good broadcast. Good year by Vype. Thanks to all the folks that are here about it every week. We're missing a few regulars, but it's always fun. The players are always like, wow, there's a live audience here. It makes them even more nervous. The ones that don't know there's a live audience, which is great. But, yeah, hopefully we can end it on a good note. It's been a unique year with injuries, man. We're not who we thought we would be at the beginning of the year, but that's life. And it's one of the great lessons for them is you make plans and then the plans don't work and you make another plan and you just keep moving forward. So we continue to learn to be gritty and diligent, and hopefully we can get enough duct tape and Band-Aids to hold everybody together for one more ball game.
Sounds like a plan. So it will be Pirates versus Swanee at noon on Saturday afternoon from Birkelbach Field in Georgetown. Going to be a beautiful day, so come out to the stadium, support the team one last time this season. If you absolutely can't make it out, we'll be on the air at roughly at 11:40 or so on Vype.com, or you can find the link as well at southwesternpirates.com. So thank you to all of our guests, Jalen Spriggs, Jason Lund, and Cam Willis-Roberson. Our producer, Jack Farrell, and Trey Grubb, who spotted and filled in a couple of times this year. Chuck Cracy, awesome job as usual, our sideline reporter and the host of Cracy's Corner. And our QA this evening, Christina Weber-Bertram, my better half. Our technical director, Suna Vincott. Rita Haley, and I think it's Kevin is the bartender. Is that his name, Kevin?
Steven.
Steven. I don't know where I got Kevin from. I meant to ask that.
Don't worry, he didn't hear that, hopefully.
He didn't? Okay, good. Well, yeah, thanks to Rita and Steven for all their help this year. You, Coach Austin, as well, for everything that you've done for us, and good luck on Saturday afternoon. Everybody out there who tuned in, thank you for tuning in tonight. Everybody who came out, it's good to see the familiar faces. My name is Merle Bertrand, signing out one more time. We're done here with the show for the year, but we've got one more game coming up on Saturday afternoon. So go Pirates, and we'll see you next time right here on Vype. Good night, everybody.
Hi, Mom.
Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, for alma mater dear. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern. To Southwestern will be loyal to the sun from the sky, and remember to the end that a fight will never die. Pirates fight, yeah we win. Ay. Pirates fight.